Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurs Inner Game podcast. I am so excited to introduce an amazing guest today. It's John Lee Dumas. He's a host of Entrepreneurs on Fire, an award-winning podcast where he interviews inspiring entrepreneurs who are truly on fire. With over 2,000 episodes, over 1 million listeners a month, and 7 figures of annual revenue, JLD is just getting started. Visit eo5.com to set your entrepreneurial journey on fire. I love that bio. It's fantastic. It just says everything. So, John, obviously, you've got a huge amount of success, but it wasn't always like that. I'd love to just dive into your mindset, your thinking about how to take action when you're facing resistance. Now, as entrepreneurs, we know there's lots of things to do in our business, and we can kid ourselves that we're busy, but we're not actually doing anything that's going to help us to bring more clients. So in a way, we're hiding, not getting our message out there, not making offers or just getting sales calls booked in. So what is it around the mindset that has helped you to have that focus to take action in your business?
Well, number one, love the concept of your show because your inner game is a direct reflection of your outer game, and you can't fake it. It's like if your inner game is not on, your outer game is never going to reach the levels that you aspire to. And for me, honestly, Nina, it's all about perspective. Perspective is so key when it comes to the inner game, when it comes to facing and battling against resistance. I just say to myself, hey, all the magic happens outside of the comfort zone. All the magic happens when I'm hitting and then fighting through resistance. All the magic happens when I have a barrier that I need to climb over in order to make myself better. So that's just a perspective shift. Like a lot of people are like, oh no, like this is hard, or oh no, this feels tough, or oh no, this is resistance. I'm like, good, this is resistance. This means I'm heading in the right direction. This means that I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to get better. I'm going to fall flat on my face, and I'm going to learn from that, pivot, adjust, and move forward and hopefully the right direction this time. So if you want to make magic, all the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. So fight through that resistance.
Okay, so it happens outside of the comfort zone. And what would you say to our listeners and viewers who are scared, who have fears? They may have fears of being visible, they may have fears of rejection, of being criticized, of people not wanting to book them at the price that they have. What would you say that would help them to overcome those fears?
I would look them in the eyes and I would say, you are scared. Welcome to being a human being. It is an innate sense that we all have. Why? Because 55,000 years ago, when our ancestors were living in a cave and we were scared to leave that cave and that fire at night because there was maybe a saber-toothed tiger outside, they might have been right. There really might have been. And so that fear was justified. They didn't go outside. They didn't get eaten. They reproduced. And here you are 55,000 years later, a result of them not dying and not being able to reproduce. So they passed down that fear, which was justified then. And in some scenarios, obviously in the world we live in today, fear is justified. I spent 13 months in Iraq in war. I had justifiable fear when I was experiencing those 13 months during my tour of duty. But the reality is we put a lot of fake fear into our worlds. Like, oh my God, what if they don't like my Instagram post? I'm too scared to post it. That's when you realize that, hey, I'm a human being. I'm meant to feel fear because this is just what it is that encompasses who I am. Let me, instead of shying away or of trying to ignore it, let me just embrace that fear and say, you know what the 1% does? The 1% of people who are the most successful people in the world. I'm not talking the most financially successful hedge fund managers and all those idiots. I'm talking about the 1% of people who are actually successful doing things that they love. Those people embraced the fear and they rose above it. That's the reality. That's the steps. That's the process. So don't beat yourself up because you're scared. Don't think something's wrong with you because you're fearful. You're a human being. That's why you're feeling these fears. Now let's meet them head on, embrace it, and drive forward.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we make up our fears, don't we? They're just stories that we believe are true. But actually, once you get past the fear, it was never the truth about you anyway.
There's an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real.
Yeah,
Think about it.
that's perfect. That's absolutely true. Now, I know you're big on focus and discipline, and this is something that's obviously helped you to grow your business. We can whittle away the day doing things that don't matter. We can spend a couple of hours on Facebook or whatever it is and procrastinate, not get anything done by the end of the day. What's your take on focusing, on how to focus on the important parts in your business and actually get stuff done?
There's three things I want to focus on here, because you kind of mentioned the whittling away our days. Maybe we're doing stuff, but are we doing the right stuff? So there's three things that need to be parts of your day to day. Number one is productivity. Everybody's like, but I'm so busy all the time and I'm always busy and my schedule's full and this and that. Of course I'm productive. Well, you might be productive, but you're probably producing the wrong thing. The real successful people in this world, they produce the right content. So you need to focus on not just being productive and busy and all that crap. You need to actually be producing the right content. And then number two, you've got to be disciplined. You have to be a disciple to a plan of action that you've created. So you're going to create a plan of action, be a disciple to absolutely execute upon that plan. And then number three, you brought that word up, focus. Just like I said with fear, there's a great acronym for that. There's a great acronym for focus. Follow one course until success. Focus. And if you are able to do those three things over time, not overnight, you're going to win. On what levels? What levels you really need to win? Could you be happy right now making $80,000 a year doing something that you love doing from the comfort of your own home, spending more time with your kids, your family, your friends, your loved ones? Like, that can be an amazing goal. It doesn't have to be this highfalutin, I need to build this company that's going to change the world. And then you spend the next 20 years, killing yourself trying to accomplish that. And then for the 0.001% of people that accomplish that goal, typically they realize like, oh, wow, that was it? Like, what have I been doing? So just a couple of things I want to kind of riff on right there. But those are the three major things. Productive, produce the right content, discipline, be a disciple to your plan of action, and focus, follow one course until success.
And it's a decision, isn't it? Because at the moment, if someone's not doing a lot, they've made a decision somewhere, which is probably out of their awareness, not to do much and just hide away and not get their stuff out there. And you can just change your mind. This is the wonderful thing about our thought. It's so flexible. We can change our mind in the next moment and decide we're going to do something completely different. What about when you run into setbacks? How have you coped with those? If something hasn't worked out, maybe a launch hasn't gone according to plan, or, there's been something in your business that you feel you've just taken a big step back. How do you cope in those moments? How do you pick yourself up and keep going?
I love setbacks. Setbacks show me so many things that I'm doing wrong. Like when you're just having wins, you don't know what you're doing wrong. You're doing a lot of things wrong. You just don't know what you're doing wrong. With setbacks, with failures, when you fall flat in your face, you actually get to sit there and identify what are the things that I'm missing? What are the things I'm doing wrong? How can I pivot? How can I adjust? Like back when I was in sales in corporate America, I used to honestly love no's because I knew it took me 17 phone calls to get 16 no's and one yes. So when I got a no, I was like, sweet, clink. Now I only got 16 more to make before I get to a yes. Like that has to be your attitude. When you have a setback or a failure, great, let me learn from that. Now let me try it again, swing the bat again, because this next thing could be the thing or not. Maybe I just will learn something else, get set back again and drive forward with the next thing. You have to be resilient. Like you have to be focused on learning, always learning from your wins, always learning from your losses, always be a student of your own game.
So have you always had this, really positive mindset that embraces challenges and, not getting things right, etc.? Or is this something that you've had to create?
Absolutely not. It's been through reading books. It's been through attending conferences. It's been through listening to podcasts. It's been through doing the things to educate my mind, to shift my perspective, and to really just gain a better understanding of the world. It was my choice to consume this content and to learn this content and to adapt my mindset around it. And so far, so good.
And what's made the biggest difference for you? When did you get your biggest insight, your biggest shift?
My biggest shift came back in 2011. So in the Army for 8 years, tried corporate finance. quit, tried law school, dropped out. So I was failing. Then I saw this quote by Albert Einstein about 9 years ago, and it said, try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value. And that quote just slapped me upside the head because I was like, I've been trying to be successful my whole life and I haven't achieved it. But what have I been doing that's been of value to anybody? And the answer was not much. Like, I'm not really being that valuable. Like, if I don't do anything today, nobody's going to know, nobody's going to care because I'm not really adding consistent value to this world. And that's when I said, hey, what would it look like if I created free, valuable, consistent content? I said, well, that could look like a podcast because I love podcasts. I listen to them. Why not be the person that does a daily podcast? And that set me off on my journey with Entrepreneurs on Fire. And here you and I are talking 2,500 episodes in, 80 million listens in, multiple millions of dollars of net revenue every single year from literally that one quote.
That's amazing. That's a great story.
So thanks, Albert.
Thanks, Albert. Thanks for sharing that. So you could have kept that podcast at a pretty small level, kept it, quite small, easy business. Well, what was it in your thinking that you saw this big vision, that you stepped into this big vision, that you took the action to make it a really big, successful business?
And that actually does go back to my personality. And there's no right or wrong way to go about your personal business, whatever it is you decide to do. I've just always been an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm always just like, listen, I'm going to go all in on this thing, or I'm not going to do it at all. So a lot of people will look at me over the years and be like, I'm shocked that John's a success, because honestly, I thought he was kind of lazy because I was on things that I didn't care about, on things that I wasn't going to go all in. Like, I wasn't going to half-ass it, or I wasn't going to just be like, I'm going to be good at this. I'm either going to try to be great, or I'm just going to be terrible because I'm not going to try at all. Like, it was literally one of the two. So when it came to podcasting, it's like, I'm literally going to do a daily show and build the biggest show that I possibly can, or I'm not even going to do it at all. Like, it was all or nothing for me. That's my personality. And again, it's worked for me for this. But it's not for everybody. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be an all or nothing kind of person, but that's why I went big.
Yeah. And it means you put all your energy into something rather than over lots of different little projects, which don't maybe count as much.
I like to say, instead of going 1 mile wide and 1 inch deep with all these little things, I just went 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep and crushed it.
Fantastic. And John, how can our listeners and viewers find out more about you and your work?
So all the magic happens at eofire.com. I have a ton of free courses because I'm all about just free. So
I'm consuming them at the moment.
Podcasting, funnels, courses, your big idea. So a lot of great free stuff over at eofire.com. And thank you for consuming that content. That's exactly why I created it, so people like yourself could enjoy it and learn and improve in different skill sets. And then, of course, my podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. I have a podcast with over 2,500 episodes out there. So catch up.
Fantastic. And I have started consuming your content, and it's very high level content for free content. It's much beyond what I expected. So I'd encourage everyone to go there and sign up and, and learn. Thank you, John. That's been amazing. Thank you for letting us look into your thinking and sharing some great ideas and wisdom with us.
Bye, Nina. Thank you so much.
And for everyone who's been listening and watching, thank you so much for being here. Till next time. Bye-bye for now.